You are now entering Nyghtstorm Nation.
All I have to say is this.
Child abuse.
If you are one of those people
Divorce.
that have been put down all of your life,
Infidelity.
beat up and trapped in a pit of woe,
Depression.
it is time for you to stand up with the Nyghtstorm Nation, because we aren't going anywhere.
I'm YG Nyghtstorm, the man not afraid to be transparent, as I help real people with real issues. And my co-host is my queen, my stunningly gorgeous wife.
It hurts. This is Toby George Nyghtstorm. Good morning, Atlanta. This is the woman not afraid to tell the truth about things as they really are. And this is Nyghtstorm Radio. Radio gone real because we are you.
Whoa! Nyghtstorm Nation, if you're in the ATL, feel free to call in at 443-558-8699. And to all the Nyghtstorm Nation members around the country, call in at 1-866-923-2860. You can also find out more about us, the Nyghtstorms, at nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. And you can also listen to our show from the Talk Radio page on the website and also on Love860.com.
That's right. That's right. And all you smartphone purchasers, users, people that just cherish their smartphones.
Yes.
You could get on there and be on Facebook all day, and you can be on Twitter.
Yeah.
What you need to do is download those apps, iHeartRadio or Tunein Radio or iRadionow.
Yeah.
Go to the Talk Radio section, find WAEC Love 860 AM. And listen to us every Thursday from 11 to noon. And after that, you can do whatever you want, Will.
Yeah, after that, you do whatever you want. Okay, so what's on tap for the day, baby?
All right, so today we're going to be focusing on the topic of finding your true purpose in life, Mr. Nyghtstorm.
All right.
Now, everyone out there has one, but not everyone knows what it is. You know, we haven't all come to that aha moment of this is it. This is what I have been led to do. This is what God has put me on this earth
When the
for.
light bulb cut on.
That light bulb has cut on. And, you know, they haven't quite found it. Still meandering around in the dark, trying to figure it out.
Fumbling with that light switch.
That's right. So we're going to
Falling over shoes.
Stumbling
over shoes.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
High heels.
Am I going to get a word in?
Nikes.
All righty.
Shoes that your husband tell you to put up.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on. Are you personalizing this?
Did I go there?
Oh,
I could go there because you can't jump on me on the air.
Here we go.
Even though she fall over my stuff all the time.
Look,
but
that's what I'm saying.
We ain't talking about me. We talking about you.
Reciprocation.
Anyway.
A shoe for you like a shoe for me. But at any rate.
You didn't hurt your hip like I did.
Shut up, old man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Our guest today is going to help us talk to people because she's going to share her purpose and how she found it and how she's helping others to find theirs.
That's cool. Now, that's good stuff because I know personally, that it can be a struggle at first to find yourself and who you are supposed to become, because we can be so bombarded by people telling us, who are we? You're supposed to be this and you're supposed to be that. But it's so hard to kind of pinpoint where we need to go. Am I right, baby?
That's right. You know, a lot of times folks have this impression in their mind about who they think you should be. But we get so caught up in this and pleasing people. And it starts, of course, at home when we're kids and we want to please our parents and make them proud of us.
Yeah, because they make you pick up your shoes.
Look here now. Anyway, at some point in life, usually once you've left your parents' home, a lot of times when you're out in college,
right,
sometimes not, maybe afterwards you get that epiphany of, okay, hold on. I did this for dad or I did this for mom. I did this for teacher. I did this for professor. But what do I want to do to make me happy? I'm doing this for my boss right now. But what makes me happy and how do I want to present myself to the world? What makes me proud of me?
Now, that's true. And I know about all that good stuff. And I know I'm messing with the queen right now, picking up her shoes. I honestly don't mind tripping up over the royal things that house my wife's feet. I don't mind. And you know something, what I like about your shoes? They always smell good.
Oh my goodness.
They always smell good.
Here we
My
go.
shoes can be funky, but your shoes
are
always
not,
smell
why
good.
are we into, this is not a shoe story.
I'm just
This isn't
saying,
the
you got
topic of
nice
the show.
shoes. You got nice shoes. Now, I know we have an email from one of our listeners, and if you would like to send us a line, you can hit us up at the Nyghtstorms with an S, the Nyghtstorms at Nyghtstorm.com, and we will definitely read your email, and if we feel it's appropriate for the show topic, we'll include it. So we got a nice Nyghtstorm letter. So my queen with perfect shoes, can I read this Nyghtstorm letter, please?
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
Okay. It says, Dear Nyghtstorms, thank you so much for giving your listeners an opportunity to interact with you by email, and I absolutely love your website, Nyghtstorm.com, and what the two of you do is very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
My question to you is this: how do you do it? Or I guess what I really want to know is, how did you find your path or even know this is the right path for you? I am a recent college graduate who was lucky or blessed enough to land a job I trained for 4 years to do right after graduation. I was so psyched that I actually landed my dream job right out of college, and my parents, of course, were happy because this is what they have always wanted for me. But after working in this field for the past year, I feel like it is not all it's cracked up to be, and that it is not my true calling. It has only been a year, but I am already starting to dread getting up in the morning and headed to work. On the one hand, I am still young and I don't have a family to support, so I have time to make a change. I know this. But on the other hand, college was not cheap for my parents or myself, and I don't want to tell them that after paying the lion's share of my college tuition, I'm quitting my job to do something else. Now, this brings me back to my question of how did you know that being public figures and authors was the right path to take, because I thought I knew what I wanted. Even if I were to leave my job, which I'm not totally sure if that's the right move, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I just know what I'm currently doing is not doing it for me, but who knows? It could get better, but then again, it could get worse. Last part of the letter, because they got a lot to say. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the middle of a thought right now.
Yeah. Now, as you can tell, I am definitely riding the fence here, and my father always told me that as a man, sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do in order to get ahead in life, and I am not a quitter. But if I am honest with myself, and you asked me today if I am happy with my career choice, I would have to say no. The only thing is I have no clue how to find my path. So what's your thoughts? Now, obviously, this is coming from Justin from Manhattan.
Justin Parks.
Justin Parks from Manhattan, New York. Now, Justin, obviously, you had a lot to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, you feel passionate about this.
Yeah.
Because you came off like, look, I don't care if this 8 paragraphs long. I'm finna say to the Nyghtstorms what I need to say. Well, I would say this. You are still young. And the good thing is you don't have a wife and children right now. Right. So your life still belongs to you. But I can understand how you feel that it's imperative that your parents know how much you appreciate the amount of money, the fortune that they have put into your education.
Yeah, the college isn't cheap.
Okay. But you only have one life. And you need to live your life the way you want to live it. It's going to be hard, but I can understand not ticking off mom and dad because they didn't have to pay that money.
Exactly.
But they paid that money so you could have a future. So, I mean,
Another
what are your thoughts on this?
Because, well, see, I see why he's riding the fence. He's not happy, but he doesn't know what he wants to do.
Right.
So you can't just go off all willy-nilly. And even though he only has himself to support right now,
right.
And I'm sure all through college and everything, he's had the discussions with dad and mom. Oh, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. You're doing this, you're doing that, and whatever. And those memories are in the back of his mind and everything. But he's sitting at the desk or wherever he happens to be in, placement in the office, and he doesn't like it. It ain't real till it's real. And he's sitting there and he's like, this ain't the business. So, first of all, you should take a moment. You have no distractions. Like you said, you have no wife, you have no kids. You could have a girlfriend, but take the time to write down on paper what makes me happy. What do I like to do? How do I like to spend my time when I'm not in the office? And is it a way that I can make a living for myself doing this? And am I good at doing it? And explore it. Continue to work your job. No one's telling you to quit your job. You got to have somewhere to go and something to do. Income. You have to have a plan of action first before you just walk away for something you have a degree in. And then is this thing that I like going to cause me to have to go back to school to get another degree. Like you said, you're still young. If you just graduated from college, I'm guessing you're in your early 20s. So you still have time to invest another 4 years or 2 years. If that, sometimes that's the case. You only need a couple of years. And talk it out with your parents. Let them know, okay, look, guys, I love you. And I know that whatever university that I just graduated from costs a lot of money, but I'm not happy. And I need to have a discussion with you. And talk to people that are already in the field that you think you want to go in. That is the best thing you can do. Go to someone who's already in the trenches, who already does what you're doing. Have them give you the good side and the bad side.
The real.
Yeah, because the grass is not always greener. You like to do it.
Well, if it's always greener, that means there's more fertilizer.
Well, yeah, that's true. And sometimes that is absolutely true. But but you need to talk to someone who is in this field that you think is so great, so grand. And sometimes you can luck up and catch somebody at the right time. They have nothing to do, and they will get into detail about this and that and the other.
Well, that is excellent advice, my queen. And it's always refreshing when, we know what in the world we talking about, but it's always good to have other experts on that know what they talking about too. So, Jared, in my British accent, if you can cue that music, please, because our astonishing guest is here. Ha 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 ha! Yeah! Nyghtstorm Nation! We about to introduce our guest. Go get him, my queen. Come on.
This former attorney has pursued textile art as a sacred passion and a spiritual pathway for 19 years. She's helped others identify and accept their gifts, pursue their creative passion, and bring creativity and freedom into many areas of their lives. Now, along with her Reap As You Sow team, she is enthusiastic about leading other quilters as to also experience and enhance and share the connection between their quilt making and their spirituality.
I'm finna bring it home. She works with quilters and other creative people, but especially women who want to break through procrastination, resonance, crippling, perfectionism, fear, self-sabotage, overwhelming stress, emotional pain, and insecurity, if you know what I'm saying. So, ladies and gentlemen of Nyghtstorm Nation, it is our honor, privilege, and pleasure to bring to you on Nyghtstorm Radio the author and convergence coach, trained to work with clients of all kind of ills. She is the one, the only Mrs. Chris Smith. Yeah!
Hello, Chris.
Hello, how could I be laughing and smiling at that kind of introduction? Thank you so much for inviting me on the show today.
Oh, we are so happy to have you here. And I spent a lot of time on your website going through all the different aspects, and your work is just amazing.
Well, thank you.
Okay, now let's get into this, Chris. Now, we done already hyped you up. Well, because we just telling the truth about you, because you are such a phenomenal individual. But I want to know this, between you and the Nyghtstorm Nation, why did you write Reap As You Sow, the spirit at work in quilt making, and who is it for? Why did you write this book, ma'am?
Well, I wrote the book because when I started quilting, I was the mother of young children, and I was working about 30 hours a week as an attorney, which isn't exactly a family-friendly career.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really think I had a minute of free time. I was stressed out. I was overwhelmed. I was doing a lot of spiritual exploring and striving. I was really not in a very good place, but I started to quilt, and people couldn't believe I was even adding something that took time to my really overly committed life. But I volunteered to help on a school project, and I got hooked. Actually, a lot of quilters do that. They give it a try, and suddenly they feel like they're addicted. And I think that addiction feeling is because our souls are really starving for something that's missing in our lives. I believe that, God has planted in us these desires of our hearts, just like Justin was even talking about. The desires of his heart aren't being met in his job. Mm-hmm. But it's God that put those desires in our heart, and He created us for a purpose, like you're talking about. So suddenly when I started quilting, I realized I had to slow down and stay in one place and be quiet. Mm-hmm. And when I was still, gave me a chance to, be still and know that God is God. And God started to inspire me and to give me answers to problems that I'd been dealing with and had no idea how to resolve. I'd been going to therapy because I was stressed out. Mm-hmm. And suddenly when I started to quilt, in that quiet space of doing that, I was being filled and I was being guided. And I also could just sit there and be doing my little thing with my hands, but my young kids could come in the room and they could plop down in the seat and talk to me for an hour or two, and really we could have great conversations. So quilting started to change my life.
All right.
And
so how do you see the quilting as making a spiritual path for you?
Well, there's a lot of connections, I think, similarities between quilting and the spiritual path. One is this being quiet and knowing that God is God, the stillness and the silence. Mm-hmm. The other is it's something that is done a lot on your own, individually, alone. But quilters often see quilting as a spiritual passion, and those that are on a spiritual path consider that a sacred journey. And in both cases, even though a lot of it is done alone, you also like to come together and kind of celebrate this thing that you do that brings you closer to God, that brings you a fulfillment of your desires of your heart. And when you get together, there's a lot of encouragement and an intimate atmosphere. You can be, transformed and grow out of it. Mm-hmm. Both of them are, there's a lot of service involved. Quilters love to make quilts for wounded warriors, abused women, people who've lost their homes in hurricanes and natural disasters. There's a lot of service element in it. Mm-hmm. And also, I think, in spirituality, there's a desire to see the divine in persons and in everything. And in quilting, we see this divine in the artwork as well as the creators of it. And often there's symbolism and transcendent meaning that comes through the art, sort of a right brain thing, something that can't be articulated in words, but it presents itself in the quilt.
Okay, now let me say this, because Chris, you just talked about how the spiritual aspects of quilting, and how when a person can do it, it can relieve stress, but it can also, when you create these quilts, like for the Wounded Warriors, and I've seen these things, when guys are coming back from the Iraq War or coming back from Afghanistan, and these folks are making these huge quilts, binding them together, and they have this incredibly beautiful message. And it's not just for the ladies. I've seen some fellas get out there and do it as well. And I know we on a hard break right now, but when we come back, you and I and the Queen are going to get down and talk some real spiritual and personal benefits to why quilting. And I mean quilting. I know some of the guys in the Nyghtstorm Nation are like, YG, why y'all talking about quilting today, dog? Well, I'm telling you why. You're going to find some benefits to quilting when we come back from this break. And Chris Smith is going to break it down how even the strongest of the fellas can handle some quilting. Am I right, Chris?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to be back on Love 860 MWAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. This is Nyghtstorm Radio, and even 300-pound men going to get down with quilting. Yeah! You ever been so depressed to where you want to hurt yourself because life has been unkind, unfair, and unforgivable? Folks done hurt you and thrown you away. Yeah, I know, because I was there too, until I read this book by NYGHTSTORM called All Action No Talk. This dude has been there, man. He understands us. He was homeless, abused as a child, abandoned by his dad, and even his oldest son passed away. I'm encouraged because if this dude can make it, so can I, and so can you. So check it out at Nyghtstorm.com, NYGHTSTORM, and know that you have the strength to change your life despite adversity, like him, like me, like you.
Hi everyone, it's me, Lady Nyghtstorm, and have I got news for you. Want to know how to keep up with us and what we're doing in the community? It's easy. Just like us on Facebook at Nyghtstorm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Nyghtstorm Radio and become part of the Nyghtstorm Nation mailing list at Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM. Keep up with all our promotions, contests, and latest happenings. Nyghtstorm Radio. We are you.
Hey, you, guy or gal that's listening, are you enjoying the Nyghtstorms? Good! 1411 on me, YG Nyghtstorm.
And me, Toby George Nyghtstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nyghtstorm. Visit Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Check out our informative blogs, videos, and see what Nyghtstorm Nation is doing to benefit the community. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Thanks again for listening to the Nyghtstorms on Nyghtstorm Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. to noon on Love 860 a.m. Atlanta's inspirational station. We are you. You are now rocking with the Nyghtstorms on Atlanta's inspirational station, Love 860 AM WAEC. Now back to the show.
We are back, and our guest today is spiritual quilt maker and author, Ms. Chris Smith. And if you would like to call in and be a part of our conversation or ask a question, please do so. The number here is 404-355-8699. I know sometimes we said it a little fast and people are like, wait, I can't get the number down. 404-355-8699. Also 866-923-2860.
Yeah. Now, all right. Now, Chris, we back. And for all you patriots out there, you American history buffs, I want to hit y'all with something on why the art of quilting is important and that skill set is important. You know that thing that waves around our on the flag post all the time, that represents, our country. You know, that thing that wave in the air, and even when it get rained on, it still keep on waving sometime and people keep it up. That thing that, our national monuments have flag, the flag.
Yes.
The American flag.
Yes.
Okay, well, there was a young lady named Betsy Ross way back in the day, and I remember this because I was a child back then.
So that's why your hip can't take a shoe.
That's right. Yeah, but she used her quilting skills to make the first American flag and presented it to General Washington. And she was so good that the stars on the flag had 6 points, but she quilted it in a way where it had 5 points so to make it easier to produce. And she said, General, use this flag right here to encourage our soldiers so we can have one union and we can be free. And that caused a whole bunch of stuff for this country. Now, Chris, do you know anything about quilting skills that make national monuments where people can be free?
Actually, I don't. I know after 9/11, there were amazing quilts made. There was a quilt made that was just gigantic.
Yes.
But it is a way for people to express their patriotism and their love and all sorts of things.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring that little thing in because there's a lot of hardcore patriots out here who in the gym like me. They've been, they shoot guns and they like, look, quilting ain't for me, YG. That might be for the missus, but the quilting ain't for me. Well, sir, because of quilting, we got a nice flag. So I want to ask you this. How is your book different from these other quilting books we see out here? Because there's a bunch of them.
Well, my book is more of a why to quilt book than a how to quilt book. Most of the books out there are how to. Mm-hmm. And so this is different in that. It's got 13 stories in it, and they're real life stories about people and how spirit was at work in their quilt making. And they're people of different experience levels, different quilting styles, even different faiths. And then at the end of each story, there's a little practical section, and I call it Steps Along a Spiritual Quilt Making Path. And it's suggestions of exercises and inquiries and reflections that you can do, a lot of practical stuff, in order to help America's 20 million current quilters or anyone who's new and thinking about quilting to enhance that spiritual quilt-making connection.
Right, because I even get it out of your title, Chris, Reap as You Sow, and sow is spelled S-E-W. So as you're sitting there sewing your quilts, you're actually reaping what, you can, like you say, have that quiet time of God speaking to you and what you need to do because you get away from the distractions of everyday life.
Yeah, I think that you can reap rewards as you're quilting, or actually I want to expand this. My belief is you can reap these same spiritual rewards from many different types of creative activities. Mm-hmm. And, for 20 million of us in America, it happens to be quilting. But you could get the same thing from your writing, your cooking, your painting, all sorts of different creative activities. But anyway, the ones that I've noticed in quilt making are these personal benefits that are spiritual, the ones that are emotional. It really helps deal with healing and grieving. It's a great way to express your joy when you're celebrating. It helps with connecting, building community. It's a great thing, as we've already talked about, for service, which has benefits for both the people who are the recipients of the quilt, those who learn quilting as a process, and also just the satisfaction of knowing you're contributing to something like the Wounded Warriors Project or something like that. And it's a way to express deep feelings. Sometimes it's hard to get that out, and I even submit that sometimes men have a harder time expressing feelings than women do, and they could use this art form to get out some of those feelings in a nonverbal way.
Who, us? No. Now, Jared, throw those headphones on. Wait a minute.
I'm married to one that has that.
Wait a minute.
A little bit of an issue.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm not saying you.
Hold on. Now, Jared, our producer, and he's on the mic right now. Hey, Jared.
Hey, guys.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Now, Chris just said sometimes we men have issues, expressing our emotions, and that's why maybe if they got down with quilting, it'd be better. Now, do you have any repressed emotions that you got problems with, bro?
Oh, no, my lady tells me to shut up all the time. Can we just not feel for one day, Jared? I don't want to hold hands and talk about my feelings anymore. So I'm a bad example. So I also don't quilt. So I mean, I'm an enigma.
Well, I know, Chris. Thank you, Jared. Now I know the Queen. She ain't never got no problems with a brother expressing himself.
But I understand what she said. I understand what you said.
I know
because
exactly what she said.
We have raised 4 boys.
And
they'll sit there with the and everything and cannot. It's like, just say what you feel and what you're thinking. And sometimes you can't get that out. So I definitely understand what you're saying, Chris, about the fact that it helps you to express yourself in ways that words can't.
I'm just messing with her.
You know what? We have another Nyghtstorm letter, and I'm going to read this, and the 3 of us are going to discuss this letter because it's getting to the point of what Chris is saying about you have everything going on and you can't take time for yourself. So this goes, Dear Nyghtstorms, I am also the queen of my house, just like Lady Nyghtstorm. And the one thing that I found out that comes with that title is that I have no time for me. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, an employee, a nurse, a housekeeper, a chauffeur, a cook, a maid, and a host of other people. And while it keeps me busy and tired, it sure isn't what I want to be my purpose when I'm lying on my deathbed reflecting about who I am and what I've brought to this world. I have very little time, if any, for myself from the time I open my eyes in the morning until I lay my head on the pillow at night. And with everyone else's busy schedules, good luck on trying to schedule myself in any time in that. Do you have any suggestions? And this is coming from Robin in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Now, Chris, I think this really hits on what you were saying, like when you were an attorney and it wasn't conducive to, raising your family and being a mom. What would you say to Robin?
I think when you take good care of yourself, you're better able to even do that thing of taking care of your household and your other family members. And so I think God really wants us to carve out some time for ourselves, however we do it. And it's not just one more thing to put on the to-do list, but there are ways, as I was saying, when I was doing my quilting, I was also having conversations with my kids. They appreciated when I started doing it because they could sit there with me and we could have deep talks. They also ended up learning to quilt themselves, and they got the joy of playing with fabric and color and shapes. So it became a family activity. And, some of the quilts that I made became these family treasures. If somebody was sick in our family, we had this one quilt they called the sick quilt because we always wrapped people up in that quilt when they weren't feeling good. It became really comforting. It became a family treasure. There was one time we were evacuated from our house because a fire was circling our block, and the kids ran in, and that quilt was the first thing they grabbed that they didn't want to have burn and be destroyed. So even though I was taking time for me in my quilting, it was really good for my whole family. Plus, de-stressing myself was good. I think I mentioned that I was in therapy at that time when I started quilting, and as soon as I started quilting, I quit therapy. I didn't need it anymore. So that crossed off a couple of hours a week and gave me more time, and that's where time for myself could partly come from.
Yes, and something, I really like how you said how the quilt was so important that the kids ran in to get it. Okay, now I'm finna drop a Nyghtstorm bomb, and the Queen didn't even know this, but I have a history with quilting.
What?
Yes, I do. And since Chris is here, I'm not afraid to say it. And I know Jared listening and Nyghtstorm Nation is listening, but baby, my quilt confession is when I was in the 6th grade, the people that got put in detention, all the kids who were kind of acting up for whatever reason, they put us in detention. And while I was in detention, because, I just could not, for some reason, stay in my seat at the time. I was always getting up doing something, but I got put in detention. Well, the way they got us to come together, because they had bullies in detention and the people who fought the bullies were in detention. Everybody was in there. The way to get us to become unified is they said, you are going to make a quilt for Thanksgiving. And you're going to show how the Native Americans helped the Pilgrims survive those first harsh winters. So we had a quilting teacher come in, and it was designed to de-stress the 6th graders. And we, at 20 kids, we made a Thanksgiving quilt. Now, it took us a while, but, because we was in detention a long time. but it took several weeks to get this done. And even once we got out of detention, we still came after school to finish the quilt. And it became something very important to us because it represented unity to us. And after we got through quilting, the bullies started getting along with the nerds. And the nerds started helping the bullies get better grades. And it brought people together through a simple quilting exercise. Nobody knows this.
Now.
So Nyghtstorm Nation, don't tell nobody. But Chris, what do you think about that? Because how quilting was able to bring some rambunctious little children together in one unified purpose and calmed us down to the point where we could actually work together.
I think that shows several points. One, it shows the calming effect that it can have. The other is it highlights one of the other ways that quilting and the spiritual path are similar, because that bringing unity out of diversity and having gratitude for different people's contributions, all working together toward one goal. is great.
Definitely. And the fact that as soon as you said it was from school, the fact that Chris started this just volunteering for a school project. So look at there, small world. And it also made me think of our first Nightstorm letter when he was, looking for his path. Sometimes you can find something that you enjoy by accident.
Yeah.
So it's not the where I just got to sit here and think, as I said earlier to Justin, about putting, pen to paper, writing it down. You can find your purpose in life by just volunteering to do something that you just like, oh, well, let me try this, or I'll help you out with that. So most definitely. Chris, I was on your website, and we were talking about, the different aspects of it, and you offer retreats. What are these retreats about?
Well, the retreats, there's a couple different formats. One of them is a group of people that already knows each other, comes together, and we have a retreat in my home, and everybody works on their own project, but we have creative exercises along the way that help to enhance sort of tuning in to what's coming to you, not through your thinking, but through your feeling or through your spirit. And so we'll be together for, say, 5 days, and we're in a beautiful setting. We're taking some time to do some self-care. We're doing some sharing. But mostly we're sitting and quilting, and then when we're having our meals together, it's a very bonding time. And I've got one group that's been doing that. This year will be our 13th gathering, because once they've done it, they never want to quit. So it's an annual event, but, that's one format. Another is where we're not actually doing quilting. It can be for people who are interested in creativity in general, and we'll come together and we'll do some exercises and a lot of exploration, talking about how to enhance our creativity, or even some work on finding your purpose, because there are lots of exercises. You talked to Justin about writing down what makes him happy, but it's interesting, too, when he does that, or when other people do that, to kind of look at whether there were seeds planted earlier in your life. Interestingly for me, although I had gone off on this direction of studying law and a lot of other things, I learned to sew by standing on the back of my mom's chair when I was a toddler and watching her sew, because that's how she was a stay-at-home mom and also contributing to the family income, was by making people doing dressmaking or draperies or whatever. And she didn't have child care for me. She couldn't afford that, so I just stood on her chair and watched. So I grew up with sewing. And my mom was also a very religious person, so I grew up exposed to that. And then my dad was in publishing, and so I grew up always thinking the written word was something important, and I enjoyed writing. So all those seeds were there right from the beginning. But, it took a lot of years before I started realizing that in those seeds of things that made me happy, or things that were, had positive associations from my youth, were the very things that were part of my sacred calling and the purpose for my life.
Wow, now that is interesting, because nobody thinks putting together all those things would, bring you to something that you enjoy just because you're there what other people are doing around you. But we're getting ready to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more to Ms. Smith about her creative coaching and spiritual journey and creativity. So stay right by your radios, or I hope your smartphones or your computer. That's your availability also. And we'll be right back on WAEC Love 860 Nightstorm Radio.
To all event planners, are you worried that your next corporate get-together is going to be boring?
Then invite the Nyghtstorms to speak at your next event and electrify your organization as we break down how to grow your business, fix broken relationships, and conquer life challenges.
So make your next event epic. Invite me and the Queen to rock the house with inspirational techniques designed to empower individuals and maximize their true potential.
And thanks for listening to Nightstorm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational station.
We are you.
This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I'm known as the woman not afraid to tell the truth about how things really are. And the truth I have to say to you is you should listen to Nyghtstorm Radio every Thursday from 11 till noon. And you should also like us on Facebook at Nyghtstorm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Nyghtstorm Radio. And join the Nyghtstorm Nation mailing list on Nyghtstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Nyghtstorm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. We are you.
This is YG Nightstorm. And why should you listen to Nyghtstorm Radio? Because we relate to you or someone you know with topics taken directly from our lives. Every time you tune in, you'll hear a discussion about real subjects that affect real life. Why? Because me and the Queen have been there. So join us right here every Thursday morning from 11 to noon on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. Nyghtstorm Radio. We are you.
Hello, Nyghtstorm Nation. This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I have a question for you. How much are you spending each day on lunch? $6, $7, $10 even? Do you know that for less than what you spend each week on lunch, you can advertise your business or service right here during the show on Nyghtstorm Radio? Why don't you inbox us on Facebook, send us a message on Twitter, or drop us a line at Nyghtstorm.com. Let us show you how you can get your business or service out in front of the people. Now back to the show.
We are back on Nyghtstorm Radio, and we are talking to the wonderful and the amazing Chris Smith, and she's talking about quilting. And I want to say this because I want to get back to Robin's letter from Pennsylvania on how she can de-stress and find time with her very, very, very hectic schedule of being the queen of her household, and she is wearing many, many hats. And I know this because the queen does it a lot in our household. Mm-hmm. But one thing, Robin, that I do, sometimes you have to force yourself to step away. And there are times when I may pull up into the garage, and I might just sit there for 30 minutes, with the garage door open, of course. We want
Apparently, you made it to the show today.
No carbon monoxide going on. But, you have to just take the time to be by yourself. Like I was just on Facebook and just taking the time to just go with Facebook, read some very funny stories, look at inspirational stories.
While you sitting in the garage?
While I'm sitting in the car, in the garage. And then, the queen knocked on the door like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm on Facebook, chick, leave me alone.
I could definitely relate to that because I know even yesterday when I came in and, I spoke to the children, but you didn't even know I was home.
Nope, didn't even know.
I kicked off my shoes and I watched television, watched a couple episodes of some shows I missed on demand. And then when I felt like, okay, now I could deal with, being in family time, I came upstairs and I said hi to you and you and
2
the
hours
kids.
Later.
I said I watched some episodes of stuff I missed on demand. Now, come on, a good show is an hour. And but I just took that time for me. And you were like, how long you been here? Oh, I've been here a couple of hours. I was just chilling for a minute. So sometimes you don't have to just run out of the car and just jump into it. Just give yourself a moment to just turn on whatever radio station and just sit there for a second before you walk in. It's if that's the only time you can get away. Sometimes it's when you're in the bathroom. A lot of times people won't bother you when you're in the bathroom. And
also, time to get away is every Thursday at 11 a.m. Y'all go listen to Nyghtstorm Radio. But to get back to Chris, okay, and I want to say this. I want to tell another truth about my 6th grade quilting story, ma'am, is that I was telling you about that bullies were in detention as well. Well, the real truth is I got put in detention because I punched the bully in his face for messing with another kid. Uh-huh. And I had aggressive anger issues when I was younger. And, man, when you talk about quilting can kind of soothe the soul, you are on point with that because I honestly remember being angry when we started. Mm-hmm. But by the time it was done, every single day when detention was over, we did not want detention to be over because we were so calm and collected, and it felt good just to relieve the stress of quilting. So, ma'am, I just want to say kudos to you on that, and And that is something very important, very, very important.
Exactly. Now, Chris, you are also a Christian creativity coach. Now, what exactly is that, and how does that relate to Reap As You Sow?
Well, Reap As You Sow came first. I was writing the book, and then I was just pursuing this whole connection between spirituality and creativity, and I came across something called Zenmuse creativity coaching. Mm-hmm. And I ended up going through this long program and getting trained to do it. And I also experienced it's a program, it's an approach to coaching that focuses on creativity, and it's based on the idea that creativity is something that can unlock joy, and that a lot of people get stuck with these things like procrastination or overwhelming circumstances in their lives, or having no time for themselves and they're on the back burner and everybody else is on the front burner. Mm-hmm. And there are specific tools that can be used to get around that stuff. So I got trained for that. I've seen it work. I've seen it work in my life. I've seen it work in my clients' lives, and it's really an amazing thing.
Wow. Okay. And this is the deep question here that I really want to ask you. And I know a lot of people in the Nyghtstorm Nation are wondering this too, because there's a lot of stress out here. Okay. And people are lost. And when you talked earlier about quilting can also be a spiritual way to get closer to God or to find spiritual peace. So what is the connection between a person's spiritual journey and their creativity, as far as you say from your book, Reap As You Sow?
Well, first on the connection, I believe that we are all made in the image and likeness of God. Mm-hmm. And what is God? God is love, and God is the creator. Mm-hmm. Well, if that's what we're like, then two of the things that are in our essence are to love and to create. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really just fundamental. If you look at Ecclesiastes, for everything there is a season, mm-hmm. one of the things it says, there's a time to tear apart and a time to sow. So it's even biblical. I mean, I think that gives Robin permission, if she wants to take up quilting or something else. It's a time to keep silence, a time to speak, a time to, dance, and a time to embrace, and a time to just sow. So right. I believe that there's that source, that connection of creativity with the whole design of who we are as human beings in the image and likeness of God.
Well, I think all the stuff that Robin is talking about, if she anything like the queen, she needs to be sewing so it can calm her down and keep her from choking out her family.
Anyway, I do not choke out anyone. See what
my family would say that.
See, there you go.
If I need to go spend some time in my studio.
Because we can get on the queen's nerves at times. But we love her. Go ahead, baby.
All right.
Start some sewing.
I mean, it's going to start with my shoes in the floor, and now I need to go and sew somewhere. Okay, then. And I love you too, YG.
Yes, baby.
Chris, how can people find out more about you and your book and the coaching that you offer?
I have a website, www.reapasyoussow.com. I spell it S-E-W, but if you go to Reap As You Sow with an S-O-W, it redirects you to mine. Okay. And on there, you'll find out a lot about the book. There's a place that they can fill in a little form to get updates on when the book will be actually available. It's in the printing process right now, so it'll be out within the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So there's more information on the book there. There's also a link right on the home page there to my coaching page. I call my coaching heart-to-heart coaching because I really believe this comes from the heart and it connects with people at the heart level. Mm-hmm. So there's a link to that on the reapasyoussow.com page. And I also wanted to offer, if it's okay with you, some special things for your listeners.
Okay.
Of course it's okay. Go right ahead.
Right ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Well, first I wanted to say on my website it offers a short free coaching call for anybody who wants to see what it's like. and there's a form there that they can fill out, and we can set up a time and do a free call. For any of your listeners who do the free call, if after the free call they want to continue with creativity coaching and they sign up right after that call, then they can get 1/3 off of creativity coaching sessions that they sign up for after that call. Mm-hmm. And then also I'm putting together an online group to do workshops with the book. So we're going to take 8 weeks and have a call-in kind of a workshop, so by phone, wherever you are, and we'll go through the stories in the book, like one story a week, and then at the end of that story, there's these practical suggestions. So we'll do some creativity exercises during the workshop on the phone, mm-hmm. and then we'll also talk about some of the steps to try during the week, and then the following week we'll talk about how they went. We'll talk about the creative blocks like procrastination or self-sabotage or fear that gets in the way, and we'll talk about how to break through that. So for any of your listeners who want to do that, when if they want to sign up for that, they'll get $20 off if they tell me the secret code, which is Toby, T-O-B-Y. I picked that because of both you, Toby, and I happen to have a husband named Toby.
Sicky
Tobys
now.
are lovable people, I tell you.
Yeah, they're great. Being married to a Toby is a wonderful blessing.
Hey, it's better than the clothes steamer, I tell you that.
The Toby, oh my God.
You got it.
Well, you know something, Chris and Toby, my baby, we have been talking about a lot of very, very deep things. And Robin brought some things up, and Justin brought some things up about, some very, very deep issues that need, one word. And one word in particular I'd be thinking of that can cover a multitude of adversities and help people get to that spiritual and that physical, emotional, mental place that they need to be. And that word is love. And Jared, if you can turn that music up just a little bit. We have come to the Love Shout-Out segment of our show where the members of the Nyghtstorm Nation send us their love shout-outs and ask us to read them on the air to that special someone. And, of course, we receive your emails at thenyghtstorms@nyghtstorm.com. But today we are going to shout out a few members of Nyghtstorm Nation because we would be nothing without your support. Am I right, sweetheart?
That's absolutely right. And the first person we want to say hello and thank you to, who makes sure she listens to our show, is Ms. Audrey Jones, our aunt coming out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Hey,
good morning, Auntie. Thank you so much for always supporting the show and supporting us and sending us little crazy Facebook messages and videos and stuff. Look where she's getting this stuff from, but we say thank you so much.
Also, we want to send a special shout out to the people over at Farm Burger in Buckhead, and especially Kimberly McLaughlin. Wonderful customer service, wonderful food. You guys need to check that out if you're in the Atlanta area. Exactly.
And also to the manager over at Maggiano's at Perimeter Mall, David, and our server, Krista.
Yeah.
They were absolutely fabulous. The food was fabulous. The service was excellent. And we just enjoyed ourselves. So we told you that we had the show. We were going to be talking about you. So even if you don't have an opportunity because it's about lunchtime, but David and Krista.
Go check out Maggiano's. Now, Scott Morrison, who is the president of Bright Star of Duluth, which is a company that provides in-home care, and we want to send a special love shout out to them, and also to Jamie Griffin of Hope Beckham PR Services. Thank you for all the things that you do. Love shout out from the Nyghtstorms.
That's right. Oh, and I got one more member I want to say hello to. That's Elena, who's also out at Perimeter Mall. She's with Natural Beauty Spa Boutique, and she was great and showed us the salt room and everything. Had a blast with her.
Yeah.
But my biggest love shout out is going to go out to you,
Who,
my
me?
love. To you, YG. Oh, my goodness.
I know Chris is tripping right now.
Thank you, YG, for being such a great husband. Thank you for taking me to these places so that we can have the shout outs to the people. I enjoyed Maggiano's. I enjoyed the spa and everything. So thank you so much for being you and everything that you do.
Well, baby, you deserve it. Thank you for being a wonderful, wonderful queen, the love of my life, the light of my world. I appreciate it. And Chris, do you have a special love shout out you want to send to somebody, somebody named Toby?
Well, I want to send that to Toby, but I also want to send it to Casey, Brenna, Elliot, and my parents.
Oh, cool beans.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
All righty. So, Miss Chris Smith, we want to thank you so much for being our guest today on Nightstorm Radio. Nightstorm Nation, thank you so much for listening to Nightstorm Radio and sending us your letters and supporting the show and saying hi to us when we're out and about and telling us how much you enjoy what we do. It gives us inspiration to keep doing what we do. And YG, would you like to add anything before we go?
Big love shout out to our children handling their business out there, and Teray, handling your business on the football field. We're proud of you.
Yes, sir. So until next time, everyone, have a great week and stay safe. Join us next Thursday at 11 a.m. on your radio, on your computer, and take a moment off of Facebook and Twitter to join us on your smartphone, because we're right here talking to you, helping you, inspiring to do more than what you're doing. Right here on Love AM, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station, because
we are you. Have a great week. God bless you, Chris Smith.